Your favorite show of the weekend, mine, Twitter Tuesday, where we answer your questions and you take over the show. Plus, plenty more to talk about with Tennessee sweep over Vanderbilt. Ben McKee of VolQuest.com stops by the show, and Drew Beam has been named pitcher and freshman of the week. Tons to get into here on this Tuesday. Locked on Vols.
You are Locked on Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey everybody, welcome into this episode of Locked on Vols, your team every single day. And of course, your team is the Tennessee Volunteers. Available each weekday morning when you wake up, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, completely free. I'm your host, Eric Kane. You can find me on Twitter at _Caner. I do radio in Knoxville, Tennessee at 99.1 The Sports Animal, and I write for the rival site, that is VolQuest.com. So, Twitter Tuesday, every single Tuesday, if you're new to the show, this is how it works. You guys will DM me or tweet at me whatever questions, comments, concerns you guys have in the state of Tennessee football, basketball, baseball, recruiting, whatever you got, or just anything else, and I will answer them on the show on Tuesday. So we got about 5 to 6 for this week, and we'll run through those. And of course, like I said, Ben McKee coming up in segment 2, and we'll talk a little bit more baseball in segment 3. Again, I know a lot of you guys don't like baseball, but some of you have started to become Tennessee baseball fans. And if we're ever going to talk Tennessee baseball, it is now, and clearly Tennessee baseball is the best team in the country. So that's why we're pushing baseball a little bit here on this show. I hope the numbers don't suffer too much. You guys know I am a huge baseball fan. I can talk baseball pretty much any day of the week, but I think a lot of you guys, this is something that you're growing towards and something you're wanting to learn more about. This is the best sport on campus right now, without a doubt. Tony Vitello is the best head coach on campus right now, without a doubt. And you'll hear from Ben. I asked him the question here in a moment, but you can't really compare Tony Vitello to Rick Barnes right now because, well, there's like a 25-year difference in the coaching resumes. But you know, it's truly amazing what the Tennessee baseball team is doing right now. So we'll get into that later in the show. That's what you have to look forward to. But first, let's go ahead and get Braden, excuse me. He dove in those DMs. His Twitter Tuesday question is this: what is your personal favorite game day experience every single Saturday in Neyland? So my game day experience is very much different from the likes of you guys. If you guys go to the stadium, you probably do a little tailgating, go into the stadium, watch the game, and then leave. I show up a couple hours beforehand. I go through the media entrance and I go upstairs to the press box when they allow us on the field before the game. I go down there, and I start getting my laptop out and get ready for to cover the football game. And after the game, I'm usually there a couple hours. We go downstairs to do the media. We hear from Josh Heupel, hear from players. We do stand-ups on the field. I come back up, write a story or two. Try to talk to some prospects who are on campus. We do a podcast, all that type of stuff. So mine is very much a work day, but I enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't be doing it, right? It's you work 6 to 7 days a week. Literally, I mean, I work pretty much 7 days a week every single day, which is not fantastic, but it's the line of business that I'm in. And what I enjoy the most about it is I will come in and I will park in the parking garage. I think it's G3. It's right across the street from Thompson Bowling Arena. So if you turn down, I don't know what road that is. Maybe that's Majors. I'm not sure what road that is. It's the road where you turn right, or you stop at the stop sign. You're coming off Neyland Drive, and you turn right there, and you come to that stoplight. You got the Anderson Training Facility right in front of you. You turn right. Thompson Bowling Arena is on your right. I park in that parking garage right there on your left. And I walk out of the parking garage and I'll walk up the road and into the stadium from the media entrance. And I love seeing just everybody that's out there. I pass by so many different tailgates. It is a sea of orange whenever I'm crossing that road from one side to the other, looking down on the Vol Village. It's truly a sight to see. So for me, that's my favorite part about the experience. And of course, whenever it's a packed house, whenever it's going crazy, watching just running through the tee. It's still the most, in my opinion, the most iconic entrance in all college football. It is the coolest thing in the world, seeing it from up top and how the Pride of the Southland parts and the team runs through. And they added the light show with that this past year a couple of times, running out via the spotlight carrying the American flag. It gives you chills, man. I mean, it truly, truly does. So that's probably my favorite experience on a game day. Braden also goes on to ask, what game on the schedule are you looking forward to the most personally for the 2022 football season? It's got to be Florida. There's a couple of different games that I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to going to LSU. I'm looking forward to going to Pittsburgh. A lot of road trips coming up this football season, but it's got to be Florida because if you're not going to beat Florida this year, when the hell are you going to beat them, right? I mean, Florida is not going to be down forever. I think Florida will win about 8 games this year. That's a down year for them, maybe 7 to 8 games this year. I think Billy Napier is a good coach, but you got to beat them. They're down. They're coming to Tennessee. Again, Florida's just got your number, right? If you don't beat them this year, I mean, when in the world are you going to beat Florida? So that is the one that I have circled on my calendar without a doubt. So I appreciate you chiming in there, Braden. We'll go on to Ross Jackson. Ross wants to know essentially, and I appreciate you for chiming in. You've talked this week about the health of the University of Tennessee athletic department from an on-field perspective. When comparing it to the rest of the league, you said you weren't diving into the financial information. I'm old enough to remember back in the 90s when UT was one of the few athletic departments in the country to operate in the black and is entirely self-sufficient. Where do we stand now? Still self-sufficient. I can tell you that for sure. And along with that, how many ex-coaches are still being paid? What's that number? I don't know the numbers. I apologize. And I've asked for confirmation on this, but here's what I believe is the case. And I will let you know when I get confirmation on that, Ross. Tennessee is very much self-sufficient. I mean, the football program funds the entire athletic department. You got football and basketball that are operating very much into the green. Football, of course, is by and large way ahead of anybody. Lady Vols turns a profits. To my knowledge, baseball and softball do not, but though if they do, it's very little. The rest of the athletic department does not turn a profit, but that's normal. Okay. That's normal for any athletic department. Football drives the ship and it pays the bill and keeps the lights on for everybody else. As far as the ex coaches that are being paid, and again, I will let you know when I have confirmation. Butch Jones is done. Tennessee's not paying Jeremy Pruitt anything right now. We'll have to see exactly if they settle or whatever the end result of that will be. But you're not paying Butch Jones anymore. You're not paying Jeremy Pruitt right now. I believe Jim Chaney's buyout is concluded. Okay, he had a big time contract being the offensive coordinator here at Tennessee. The only two I believe is the case. I believe Tennessee would still be paying Holly Warlick, and I know Tennessee is still paying Philip Fulmer. Of course, Philip Fulmer was the former athletics director here at Tennessee. Holly might be done. If she's not done, she's really, really close to being done in terms of her buyout. But those would be the two that I would believe Tennessee is still paying because everybody else has kind of been in place for quite some time, which is a good thing. Again, overall health of the athletic department. We will go next to Facebook. And remember, you can find me on Facebook at Caner on Air. And you can chime in there. That's what Eric did. Eric says, do you think one of the offensive linemen will separate themselves in favor of the left tackle spot by the end of spring camp, or is it more likely a question mark going into the fall? I will say most likely it'll be a question mark going into the fall, and that does not mean progress has not been made. We'll see. Right now it's tough because Gerald Mincey was in a boot and he didn't scrimmage on Saturday. They want to figure out, you guys have heard me say this repeatedly, I apologize. They want to know what they have in Gerald Mincey. JJ Crawford apparently has been, showing out and he's been having a good spring. I need to ask a little bit more on him. Of course, he's been here a year longer, so that's not too surprising. I'm going to get a very, very good look on Saturday for that open scrimmage. Really looking forward to that. I'll be out there watching the entire thing, or at least as much as they let us, which I believe it's going to be open the entire time. And I will have a full report for you guys on Monday. I would say there still would be a question mark heading into spring, and I would say if there's a good tackle out there, Tyler Steen didn't have Tennessee in his top 4. The offensive tackle transfer from Vanderbilt, so that one looks like it might be lost right now. If there's an offensive tackle out there that this staff likes, they're probably going to take it. But right now, J.J. Crawford's running the show. Gerald Mincey, can you get back on the practice field? Can they see what they got? That's why I kind of would lean towards question mark, but it sounds like progress is being made. They like the makeup of Mincey. They like what they've seen here early on, but he needs these reps for sure right now. He absolutely does. We'll go to Josh. Can Jalin Hyatt help on the outside? That's an interesting point. I was told that he lined up on the outside a couple of times in the scrimmage on Saturday. So I'm intrigued to see if that's something we'll get to see on this Saturday. How does he look out there? He lined up on the outside a couple of times as a freshman, or really as a freshman that he was playing outside a little bit. He's very, how do I put this? I think he's gained a little bit of muscle, but he's not a big guy. And so beating press coverage is a struggle for a guy like Jalin Hyatt. That's why he hasn't lined up on the outside an awful lot because he's a smaller guy and he can't beat press coverages, and that's an issue, right? If you can grow in that regard, then absolutely that can be another outside receiver. So I think there's a chance there. I'm intrigued to see what I see on Saturday. I've been told that he's lined up there a little bit, but every time I've been at practice, he's been running routes out of the slot. So we'll see. Tennessee has got tons of slot receivers and not many outside receivers. They need players to step up there. And last one, we will go to Matt. Matt wants to know, if I can read my own writing, what recruits are we in good shape with? All right. So I think Tennessee, and I think all these guys will be making spring decisions at some point. I think Tennessee's in real good shape with Nathan Robinson, defensive lineman from Greenbrier. I think Tennessee's in real good shape with Caleb Herring, the brother of, the brother of Elijah Herring from Riverdale. I think Tennessee's in real good shape with a talented defensive back from Sylvester Smith. He should be in town this upcoming weekend. Brandon Strozier from oh goodness, from that academy. Oh my God, St. Francis. There we go. Not academy, St. Francis High School in Georgia. Tennessee's in really good shape with Brandon Strozier. And, this weekend coming up, it's going to be a big one. What can Tennessee do in terms of swinging for Carnell Tate and Kyler Casper? Nico is going to be back on campus this week, so that's going to be big. What can Tennessee do with a guy like Tony Rojas, who can play running back or linebacker? Tennessee's still swinging at Noah Rogers, a 4-star talented wide receiver. Rico Walker is expected to be back on campus this upcoming weekend. But of the ones I just named right there, I think Tennessee's in real good shape with Brandon Strozier, Sylvester Smith, Caleb Herring, and Nathan Robinson, and a big weekend of recruiting coming up. All right, that'll do it here for this edition of Twitter Tuesday. We'll have Ben McKee, VolQuest.com, to chat a little Tennessee baseball when we return. Built Bar. Okay, swimsuit season, not Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. You see what's on my mind, right? Swimsuit season right around the corner, spring break. You've got the summer months. You're going to be out at the beach. You're going to be out at the pool, the river, the lake, whatever the case may be. If you're trying to lose or maintain weight and substitute an unhealthy snack for a healthy snack, I encourage you to check out the Built Bars. Built Bars, 17 grams of protein. That is awesome. Only 130 calories compared to the normal candy bar that's about 240 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs. They're so tasty, and they're trying just tons and tons of different flavors as well. Mint brownie, coconut almond. The new flavor for this month is white chocolate cookies and cream. They're all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. All right. If they think the flavor might taste good, chances are they are going to try and make it. It's all delicious and it's good for you. It's a great alternative to a candy bar, and it's filled with how much? 17 grams of protein. Go to built.com right now and check it out. Use the promo code LOCK15 and you're going to get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off. That is at built.com. It is a Twitter Tuesday episode here on Locked On Vols, but we're going to take a little break. We're going to talk to our good buddy Ben McKee, my friend and my colleague over at VolQuest.com. Ben does a fantastic job, of course, covering this Tennessee baseball team. He has for quite some time now. The top team in the country. A lot of exciting things happening, and coming off yet another sweep over a really talented ball club in Vanderbilt. Ben, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm not as good at covering the team as you or Austin Price, but just trying to live up to your standard.
One day you'll get up to the level of AP, Ryan Shumpert, myself. You're on your way, so I wouldn't give up hope. Hey, I'm going to flip the questions, man. So on the Diamond Balls podcast that you guys should all check out as well every Monday and Thursday, me and Ben link up and talk a little baseball there. You asked me, what did I learn from this weekend series? And you and I were both kind of in agreement that we might not have learned anything, more of confirmed what Tennessee is. You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, and I don't know that learn is the right word to use, but I think this weekend solidified for me that the rotation does not need to be messed with. I know Blake Tidwell is back in the fold, and I feel bad for Blake Tidwell that he doesn't have a spot to come back to, but it just kind of is what it is. That's the nature of sports, right? And he can still help this team in so many ways, but with the way Drew Beam is pitching, I'm not taking Drew Beam out of the rotation. I mean, he just threw a complete game shutout at Vanderbilt, who, oh, by the way, Vanderbilt is not down. They're a top 10 team in the country. And he throws a complete game shutout, Tennessee's first since Garrett Stallings did so in 2016. And this is a week after he pitched into the eighth inning at Ole Miss. And 2 weeks after he took a perfect game against South Carolina in his first SEC start into the seventh inning. So I don't see how you can pull Drew Beam from the rotation at this point, and you're certainly not going to pull Chase Burns or Chase Dolander. Those two guys, their repertoire on the mound and in terms of pitches and whatnot is just light years ahead of so many pitchers across the country. You just can't mess with the rotation. So this weekend, I finally wrapped my mind around the fact that Tony Vitello, Frank Anderson should not mess with that. Build Blade Tidwell up to be that fourth starter that you have to have in the postseason, in the SEC tournament, in the NCAA tournament. And in the meantime, use him like a Sean Hunley from last year. Use him like you were using Camden Sewell. If Redmond Walsh pitches on a Saturday and closes out a game, and you need to close out a game on Sunday, bring in Blade Tidwell to close out the ninth inning. Or again, be that Sean Hunley to where you can go to him in long relief if Burns or Dolander or Beam, if they have to come out in the fifth, sixth inning, go to Blake Tidwell and let him finish out the game or pitch 2, 3, 4 innings. He can still have a valuable role within this pitching staff, even if it's not starting. But right now, I'm not messing with the starting rotation, Eric.
Yeah, it's kind of like you were telling me on Sunday. Tennessee had to stay at Vanderbilt Stadium for like an hour later, simply just to get guys who didn't even get any work in over the weekend a bullpen session, and that's exactly what you can do with Blade Tidwell as the season goes on. If you need him to go get 3 outs, let him go get 3 outs and throw him in the pen for 30 more minutes. If you need him to pitch 5 innings, let him pitch 5 innings when the time comes. What a weapon to have at your disposal. All right, so Tennessee sweeps. What is it? 5-6-2, 5-2, 5-0. Offense, not as explosive as we're used to, but when you pitch the way you are, your offense is good enough to win any game. But the story, the story of this series came in the top of the first inning on a Friday night. The home run that wasn't off the bat, that apparently wasn't sticky, of Jordan Beck. Couple of days later, give us the cliff notes. What on earth was that situation all about?
Yeah, I wasn't using Ryan Shumpert's sticky bat, but was using Jordan Beck's own bat that did not have a sticker, which the sticker tells the umpires that, hey, this bat passed inspection. It's good to go for the weekend. It did not have that sticker, which is why it was ruled ineligible or deemed illegal, if you want to say that. That seems a little harsh. But the umpires confiscated it, put it in their room. The home run did not count, and that bat stayed in the umpire's room all weekend until Tennessee was getting on the bus to head back home to Knoxville. And I did watch with my own two eyes. Tennessee walk across the field, get the bat from the umpire's room, and walk back over to the bus and put it on the bus. So Jordan Beck's bat did not have the correct sticker on it that says that it's good to go, good to use. And Jordan Beck claims that the sticker fell off during batting practice earlier in the day, and he forgot to put it back on. Tony Vitello said the same thing. Jordan Beck even said that Evan Russell had the same situation to where when Beck was dealing with his ordeal, he looked down at his bat to make sure the sticker was there, and it wasn't there. So sticker gate strikes and leads to bat gate. There's been a lot of talk about possible punishment coming down the road for Tennessee, but to this point, I have not heard of any such punishment coming down, and Tennessee has not either.
Yeah, I mean, of course, anything can happen, and I've learned more about this. You've learned more about this more than we ever care to ever again about the process of compression machines and stickers going on bats and all that. What I have learned is this is more common than not. This, for whatever reason, has been happening a lot in college baseball lately. It's already happened to Tennessee a couple of times. It's happened to Auburn. It's happened to Kentucky. It's happened on different road trips. So this isn't brand new, right? And if you get a compression test each and every week. Tennessee has possession of the bat that was in question. If the bat's going to be used again, it will have to go through the compression machine. If it fails, it won't be used. If it passes, it will be used. So I do think this has been a bit much more than what it ever was intended to be. But I mean, there's something there. We'll have to see if anything comes of it. I don't think anything will. But the important thing is Tennessee responded the right way with Luke Lipsch's bomb a couple of innings later. Chase Dolander was incredible on Saturday. Redmond Walsh slammed the door shut, and then it was Drew Beam who went the distance. And man, Drew Beam was the forgotten guy at the beginning of the season. Tennessee, the best team in the country right now, and I don't want to say it's not close, but there's not an argument for anybody else right now in terms of who should be the number one team, who's playing the best baseball. It's the Volunteers.
Yes, and with the bats, I should have added that from what I was told, all of Tennessee's bats passed pre-series inspection on Thursday. That is done every Thursday before a weekend series. I guess technically, if they play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's done Wednesday. For a midweek game, it's done the day prior when the other team arrives. All of Tennessee's bats did pass the inspection prior to the series on Thursday, and you certainly did not need the bats, whether they were juiced or whatever word you want to use, whether they're juiced or not. Good luck hitting this Tennessee pitching, and because of that Tennessee pitching, you mentioned Drew Beam, Chase Burns, Chase Dollander. You didn't even throw Ben Joyce, who throws 103, 104 miles an hour. Blake Tidwell, he didn't pitch. And even the guys that you did pitch out of the bullpen didn't throw a ton because of how great the starting rotation was this weekend and continues to be. And the scary part, Kane, they continue to get better. There's been a lot of talk about this team peaking early. To me, I don't know how you feel, but to me, this is a team that looks more like they can go wire to wire in terms of they can be the best team in the country early in the season. And when it's all said and done, they can still be the best team in the country. To me, that's what I see more, being that wire to wire team than a team that is peaking early. I just don't see the pitching falling off. I don't see the hitting falling off. I think they'll continue to become even stronger defensively on the base paths. Tony Vitello joked that, hey, if you think or have this theory that Tennessee is peaking too early, I'll ask you to watch us bunt on Sunday because we could not get a bunt down. So Tony Vitello, he's not going to allow this team to become complacent. And Drew Gilbert said that after Sunday's game, that as long as Tony Vitello's here, there will never be a sense of complacency. And that is why Tennessee is the number one team in the country. I don't know that it's close right now, and I mean you can even look at the odds on several gambling sites. Tennessee is by far the favorite to win the national championship right now, and I don't think I would have ever said that when it came to Tennessee baseball.
It's wild, man. It's a different era, and seeing Tony Vitello over his 5 years here at Tennessee take the program that was 6 feet under and brought it back, built it back, and it's truly something to see right now. So check out that for real though. Check out this. I've plugged it a few times on the show. Diamond Balls podcast every Monday and Thursday. Typically, me and Ben talk nothing but baseball. Ben gives us some great insight. Sometimes we go an hour long. So if that's more your speed, we'll cover baseball here on the show. But that is all baseball. So check it out there. Ben, last thing for you, man. It's no question right now, and this is no disrespect to any other coach that's on campus because Rick Barnes has had such a great career. Tony Vitello is the best coach on campus, and it's right now it's not close, but I mean it's pretty easy answer right now. Tony Vitello is the best coach Tennessee has employed, right?
Well, two things. I'm glad that you can plug several times the podcast that you are also on. So very proud of you there. Also glad that you didn't ask me some emotional question on the way out the door this week. So I thank you for that. And not only did you not ask one, but you didn't blindside me with one either. But yeah, you're spot on. And it feels weird to say because Rick Barnes is going to be a national or a Hall of Fame coach. He's already won over 700 games, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. And he's had so much success. So Tony hasn't reached that conversation yet. He obviously has not had the career that Rick Barnes has had because of the age difference, obviously. But at this rate, it's hard not to see Tony Vitello getting there and doing a little bit more. At this point, it would not at all be surprising to see Tony Vitello win a national championship. It was surprising to say that when he got the job in his first couple of years. But at this point, now that he has built what he has built, it would not be surprising to see Tennessee win a national championship here in the next couple of years. And Rick Barnes, I mean, he has a national championship level basketball program. I mean, it wouldn't be the biggest surprise ever to see Tennessee go win the national championship next year in basketball because there's so much talent over there. They have a great culture. Great program, but I agree with you, Kane. When you look at what they're doing in the regular season, and then last year being able to back it up in the regular season or in the postseason by making it to Omaha, and it looking like it would be a huge upset if they didn't make it to Omaha and win games this year as well.
Yeah.
It would be a huge upset if Tennessee wasn't able to do that. It's hard not to say Tony Vitello is the best coach on campus right now.
He's at Ben McKee 14 on Twitter. No tears out the door this week. Ben McKee, VolQuest.com. Ben, appreciate it, man. The Adam Schefter of Tennessee baseball back on this little mom and pop show we call Locked On Vols. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I was just glad I was able to hang out with the Book Shambi of SEC baseball and Tennessee baseball. So I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. Well, we had to get Ryan Chumpert on first, but then, we know your place and we bring you on a Tuesday. I cut him off there. That is Ben McKee. Always very appreciative of Ben McKee. And, of course, he'll be back on the show each and every week. We'll come back here with a little bit more of a Tuesday edition of Locked On Vols. First, let me tell you about BetOnline, the number one spot for all your sports gambling needs, sports information. Last night was a fun night. The NCAA National Championship, the Final Four conclusion. I put some coin in my pocket because I love those props. Love props in games like this, right? I wouldn't make a habit of going with the props, but they're fun in certain situations. The ones last night were a whole lot of fun, and I was able to generate some revenue, if you will, there from my friends at betonline.net. Find out the latest sports developments, including this week's Masters Championships as well. Those odds, podcast reviews, all the different leagues this season. You can find it at betonline.net. It's your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting options as well, esports and scores. Head on over to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the latest trends and all the action. BetOnline, it is where the game starts. A final segment left here on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Vols. Guys, thanks so much for making Locked On Vols your first listen each and every day. I'm Eric Kane. Welcome back into it. Drew Beam has been named the SEC pitcher and freshman of the week. Why? Well, because he was freaking fantastic against Vanderbilt on Sunday. 9 innings pitched, the complete game shutout, no runs allowed, only 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks. Get this. He on Sunday, he faced only 1 batter over the minimum. He retired his last 16 batters, and he induced 7 1-2-3 innings. 7 1-2-3 innings. It's only 9 innings of baseball, right? So 7 of the 9 were 1-2-3 innings. Wow, what a day for Drew Beam. And Drew Beam, again, has been the forgotten man. Early on in the season, it was all about Chase Burns, and deservingly so. That's a criminal. It's a criminal affair that he's playing college baseball. He would have been drafted in the first round last year out of high school. Yet he's your Friday night starter. Chase Dolander, who came over from Georgia Southern, who's one of the strikeout leaders in the SEC, is really improved very greatly on Saturday, especially the last 2 weeks against stout competition in Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. And now Drew Beam has really, really come along. Again, the SEC pitcher of the week and the SEC freshman of the week, Drew Beam. He's pitched at least 7 innings in the third in each of his last 3 SEC starts. Keep in mind, there's only been 3 SEC series so far this season: South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt. During that stretch, pitching at least 7 innings in a third in the only 3 SEC series so far this season, he has combined to give up only 6 hits and 1 run. That is a .038 ERA, and that's while holding holding opposing batters at .078 batting average. That is shoving. That is getting it done. This is the 3rd weekly honor for Drew Beam so far this season. He was named the SEC co-freshman of the week back on March the 21st. And you just look at his progression. So starting the season, he's been Tennessee's day 3 starter the entire year. His first outing against Georgia Southern, he pitched 3 innings, gave up only 1 hit, walked 3, struck out 1. It was kind of so-so, walking a little bit too many. Next weekend against Iona, went 3 innings and a third, surrendered only 1 hit, struck out 4. Didn't walk anybody, so that was a good little bounce back. Moved up 2 more innings, pitched 5 against Oklahoma and Houston, allowed only 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He allowed his first earned runs of the season against Rhode Island on a Sunday game. 5 2/3, 3 hits, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts, and 2 walks. So that was not the best outing from Drew Beam, but since then, it has been lights out. He has allowed runs in only 2 of his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starts. He is 7-0 on the season. Since the turn of SEC play, we just mentioned 7 innings and 2/3 against the Gamecocks. No walks, 3 strikeouts, 1 hit. 7 innings and a third against Ole Miss, 3 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts, no walks. And then, of course, against Vanderbilt on Sunday, the complete game, 9 innings shutouts, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, and no walks. Drew Beam is on another level right now, and it's so surprising because the former high school quarterback at Beach, he had one of his seasons wiped out due to COVID. The other season he missed because of Tommy John surgery. So really he hadn't played baseball consistently in 2 years. So this is really, really phenomenal stuff here from Tennessee's day 3 starter, the Sunday starter in Drew Beam. Tennessee is the unanimous number 1 team in the country. Obviously, you were last week after sweeping Ole Miss. You're not going to go down after sweeping Vanderbilt on the road. So that's continued to be a good sign there. Tennessee, the unanimous number 1 team in the country. And Blade Tidwell, the true forgotten man this year, Blade Tidwell is set to start tonight against Lipscomb. If you follow me on Twitter at _Caner, I will have coverage at VolQuest.com of this game. I'm going to go cover it. And so I'll have a nice little write-up after the game, and I'll have a game thread going during the game at the general quarters. I'll also live tweet out as much as I can. But Blade Tidwell, who was the dynamic Drew Beam last year, that Sunday starter, a true freshman that was incredible, has the best stuff arguably on Tennessee's roster right now. Chase Burns might have something to say about that. But Blade Tidwell coming off some injuries over the offseason and made his season debut during the midweek game last week. Did not appear at any of the games against Vanderbilt this year. He went down to warm up in the bullpen once. I believe it was Saturday night. But they held him out, and he and both Ben Joyce, neither one of those guys pitched at all this past week. And that's another good thing. When you have starting pitching that'll go get you into the 7th or 8th inning, I mean, gosh, you're saving your pen. But Blade Tidwell, as he continues to try to work back, stretch out, get back into where he can start throwing 6 to 7 innings whenever he wants to and be a starter down the line in postseason play. And potentially, depending on how things work out, he might have to start some games here and there. He will get the start tomorrow against Lipscomb. I don't expect him to pitch much. He pitched 1 inning in the midweek last week. Maybe he goes another inning this week. Maybe he goes 2 innings. We'll have to find out. He got hit pretty hard when he first entered. Gave up a triple and a double immediately, but bounced back, had 2 strikeouts, and then a deuce to pop out to get out of the inning, allowing just 1 run. So good sign for Tennessee. You've got an embarrassment of riches right now in starting pitching, and Blade Tidwell, he's going to make the start tomorrow as he continues his progression back to where he was last year and back to being one of the best arms, not only in the Southeastern Conference, but also in the SEC. Woo! All right. Baseball talk here on Locked On Vols. Guys, stay with me. It won't always be this heavily baseball. Spring practice is still going on, but I'm going to give this team due diligence. Hey, number 1 team in the country. They deserve to be covered, and that's what we're doing here on Locked On Vols. You guys want a winner? Well, your baseball team, Tennessee baseball team, is certainly giving you a lot of things to cheer about right now. So spring practice will continue to roll on this morning. Maybe as you're listening to this, I'm probably over on campus right now covering the Tennessee football team. They'll practice today. They'll practice Thursday and Friday, and then an open scrimmage for all Vol weekend coming up this weekend. So I'll be able to get some eyes on those guys and take a ton of notes along the way. All right, that'll do it here for this edition of Locked On Vols, this Tuesday edition. Big thanks to Ben McKee for stopping by and hanging out with me earlier today. And thanks so much for making Locked On Vols your first listen each and every day. Now make Locked On NFL Draft your second listen. Ryan Tracy, Eric Crocker do a fantastic job bringing the NFL Draft to life every single day, diving into the top college prospects around the country and the NFL front offices. After Locked On Vols, which is your first listen, make Locked On NFL Draft your second listen. And hey, maybe they'll talk about some VFLs and Cade Mays, Alontae Taylor, Bayless Jones, Matthew Butler, maybe some others. Give them a listen there. Make that your second listen. We'll do it again tomorrow, guys. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody.